Okay, in today's video, I'll be sharing with you some numbers on sending your son or daughter to a 2-year ag school and spending a bunch of money versus taking our regenerative farm coaching program, and in 90 days, your son or daughter should have enough knowledge to go out here and start their own regenerative farm on a very small scale. So what if the future belongs to your son or your daughter or anybody wanting to create their own farm? What if the future belongs to those individuals that want to grow their own food, they want to build their own system, and they want to create value with their own hands? Last week we talked about the parents spending anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 on their kids' education, but yet they end up with a degree that they may never use. But this week, I want to talk about something more important, and that's opportunity. And look, we see it every single day. We go to the grocery store. Food prices have risen dramatically. The economic uncertainty in the world today, not to mention what AI is doing to some of the jobs that you may be holding right now. I strongly believe that the younger generation understands the regenerative movement much more so than, say, the baby boomers do. This younger generation, they don't want to feed their kids food with chemicals. They want nutrient-dense food. And that's why I believe in today's world that there's a massive opportunity for young people to get into farming, but not just any farming. It's got to be the regenerative farming. And in a world that's becoming more fragile day by day, the people or individuals that can produce things will be more valuable. So let's talk about the two different pathways you or your son or daughter could possibly take. Let's start with the backyard garden system. Everybody wants cleaner food. They want nutrient-dense food. And this is where it all starts. And let me explain what this backyard garden system could do. First of all, it will be providing you with nutrient-dense, chemical-free food. It would be lowering your grocery bill. It would basically give your kids some responsibility. And it could also create a side income because you could sell the excess produce to your neighbors or your friends or your family. And look, any ordinary family can start just right where they are today. The second pathway is through our regenerative farm coaching program. And many young people, they want more than just a garden. They want to start a business. And one of those options would be grass-finished beef. Because here's the thing, there are families right now all across this country looking for a clean protein. They don't want feedlot beef. They don't want antibiotics or hormone shots in their beef. They're looking for a clean protein they can feel comfortable with in feeding their family and their kids. And not to mention the demand for grass-finished beef is very strong right now because people are looking for a healthier option. What most people don't realize is you do not need thousands of acres to learn this business. And instead of selling into the commodity system where the profits disappear, they can sell directly to families who are looking to support local farmers. And that's where the economics completely change. And look, cows may not be your pathway. Pastured poultry is another massive opportunity. As opposed to raising chickens in a confinement in these large commercial buildings, people are raising these meat birds outside on pasture through a regenerative system. The birds are moved almost every day to fresh grass. They are leaving their manure behind to fertilize the pastures naturally. The birds live a much healthier life versus being confined in these big confinement buildings. And the customers are willing to pay a premium price for that bird or meat bird that was raised through a regenerative system. And one of the most important aspects of raising pastured poultry is the startup cost is a lot lower than what most people realize. And a motivated young person can start on a small scale. They can learn production, they can build a customer list, and they can create cash flow pretty quickly through this business. And not to mention the direct to consumer sales today. This is probably one of the biggest shifts in farming that we see today. For decades, farmers were taught, produce the product and we'll let somebody else market it for you. Well, the regenerative food system, or the movement happening today, is turning that old industrial model upside down. And now farmers are building direct relationships with customers through things like Facebook, maybe an email newsletter list that you might be on. It could be through a farmer's market, could be a local pickup, or it could be a delivery from the farmer itself. And when you remove multiple middlemen through this whole process, more money stays with the producer. The regenerative farm system is all about working with nature versus against nature, because I can assure you that nature will always win. And by using the regenerative system, you're creating healthier soils. You're improving the soil organic matter, which in turn gives you a higher capacity to hold more water in the soil. You're reducing your dependency on chemicals, and therefore you're creating a much healthier food. And as the input costs continue to rise, a lot of farmers are realizing that the old industrial system may not be sustainable long term. The regenerative food systems are attracting huge attention because of the resilience, the soil health, the food quality, and the long-term profitability. And one of the biggest myths today that young people believe is this. They say, well, I can't farm because I don't own 500 acres. But I'll say this, some of the smartest regenerative businesses today are operating on small acreage. And it may be 5 acres, maybe 10 acres, or 20 acres, or sometimes even less. Because when you combine intensive production, direct marketing, a premium product, and a smart system, then a smaller property becomes much more productive. And that opens the door for a completely different generation who thought previously that farming was almost impossible. And at the end of the day, this is much bigger than farming. This is all about owning your own business and entrepreneurship. This is all about learning how to create value, how to market, how to build something from the ground up, and learning how to create independence without asking permission. And I think a lot of young people in today's world are starving for exactly that. Not just another job, but ownership, purpose, freedom, and the ability to actually build something meaningful. And the question is pretty simple. Do you want to grow your own grocery store in your backyard or start a profitable regenerative farm? If you're ready to take the next step, simply click the link below to learn more about our Grow Your Own Grocery Store coaching program or our Regenerative Farm coaching program. We'll see you on the inside.